Teenagers, what is the hardest thing to explain to adults? I don't lock the door because I'm doing drugs. It's because I'm naked and you have no boundaries. I think all teens should be allowed to lock the door. I wasn't even allowed to close my door. It sure as shit didn't have a lock. Just because I have my own personal life and secrets doesn't automatically mean I'm doing something bad, illegal, or straight up dangerous. I'm allowed to have secrets. You have no privacy in this house. No privacy until 18 or college. You might be an adult, but you're still under my roof. When we say don't tell anyone, we mean don't tell anyone. I told my mom about a girl I absolutely hated. Then later that night, she FaceTimes me and says, "Guess what? I work with her aunt," and flips the camera to her and starts talking about how she told her that I hated her niece. I know that feeling completely. I once told my mom that I had a crush somebody, huge mistake, but she wouldn't stop bugging me about it until I told her about this person. Cut to a few weeks later and I invite my crush and some other friends over to my house, and the entire time my mom is eyeing my crush and being everything but subtle about it. Once my friends left, she started pointing all the things she thought was wrong or bad about my crush. Even as a 20-year-old, I've come to accept that anything I tell my dad will be passed on to my stepmom unless I explicitly tell him not to say anything. At one point, this led to my stepmom threatening to go behind my back and tell my girlfriend's very strict Asian parents about our relationship. They didn't know, cause they would have probably shipped her off to boarding school against her will. You can't just walk up to someone and ask if you can hang out with them without it being weird. This reminds me of my high school cafeteria that was also a student lounge throughout the day. I so hated walking in there and figuring out where I could go sit without being awkward, or if I just had to sit by myself like a weirdo, pre-cell phones, so I couldn't just look at my phone. Or I'd go sit near someone I sort of knew and say "what's up," 15 awkward seconds later they get up and go somewhere else. That shit sucked. I barely ever said a word to anyone in high school except my few close friends. I really envied people who could just confidently word vomit all day from group to group. That you are tired of everything and want to have less pressure from them. Also, that raising your voice a little bit when you are upset isn't disrespect. Almost not a teenager anymore, but I found hanging out online on Discord, or a couple years ago, on Skype, is just so surreal to adults, especially people age 50 and older. Bonus for the fact that they insist you can have a meaningful conversation there, whatever that means. It's literally a group phone call without the phone. What's so hard to grasp? Hanging out on Discord kinda gets me, but I still only use it as a big-ass game group chat for 2 different games I play, and that's it. But I don't sit on it and just hang out. I have no reason to knock people that do. I just don't get it, lol. Just because someone is going through something worse doesn't mean your thing isn't bad either. We were watching Jojo Rabbit, a movie set in World War II, and she said, "It makes sense for those people to have depression, but why do you?" Or whenever I complained about my dad's gambling problem, or if he yells at me, or my mom, she always says, "At least he doesn't beat you." Just because children are starving in Africa, it doesn't mean you can't be hungry. I live in South Africa. In my family, my parents say, "There are children starving in Zimbabwe," or "in the squatter camps," or some variation of location here. When I was around 9 years old, I was sitting at the dinner table and I heard my mom tell my sister, who did not want to finish a meal she hated, "There are children starving in Africa right now." My sister replied, "You should send this to them, but they won't eat it either." Last time I heard my mom use that line. That sometimes I just don't want to be with other people. A kid would just say okay and it would make sense to them. But adults can't seem to understand that I want to be by myself sometimes, isolated. I've always phrased it as, "I don't feel like being a person right now," and that's usually gotten the point across of, I need time by myself to exist and not think about how I relate to other people. Having friends online that you actually care about. They're probably just a 50-year-old man manipulating you, sweetie. Oh, I have a story here. So I had a girlfriend online at one point. My mom ran a background check on her. Turned out, everything she had told me was completely truthful. Not a single thing was out of line with what she said. Plus, couple years later, I really needed to get a start somewhere near, and someone I had known for about a decade online told me he had a close friend who needed a roommate. You can imagine my mother's protests about that one. This guy's friend, so not my friend, someone I trusted himself trusted, offered to fly over to where I was living at the time. I paid for the plane ticket, of course, and drive me in my car down to him. I had a vehicle but no license, you see. We stopped in his hometown, met his parents, stayed the night in the middle of the drive. In the morning he wanted to get up early to go to the bakery, and I felt like sleeping in. So I let him take my car without me to go do it. And you know what happened? He came back, picked me up, and now we've been roommates for 2 years. The guy often repairs my car, and he even built me a new desktop for quite cheap. Yes, I know, anecdotal evidence and all, but word to the wise, people lie on the internet all the time, but most people can't be fake for an entire decade. I've always said that if this had really been a 10-year plus plan to kidnap and murder me, shit, dude, he really earned it. Who am I to take it away from him? I've explained it to my dad like this: when you talk to the same people about 2 or 3 times a week, those are your friends. I play an MMO game with a group, and I've known some of them longer than IRL friends. And while I'm definitely closer with real-life friends than that online group, I absolutely consider them friends. That I'm doing the best I can, and that I'm still learning how to be an adult, and sometimes I still need help. I get that. I'm an adult now, but it helps if adults show me how to do that. The brain doesn't fully mature until you're around 25. I don't think we take this into consideration enough and often expect too much from young people. Honestly, my own personal jump from age 20 to 25 was probably bigger than my jump from age 15 to 20. You can't pause an online game, and being compared to other kids hurts. As for being compared, they only do that when it's convenient to them. Whenever I compared myself to other kids saying, "Michael is allowed to play outside until 10 o'clock, my mother would simply reply, "But you're not Michael." But the next day they will say, "Why didn't you do as well in that maths test as Michael?" "Because Michael is allowed to play outside until 10 o'clock. Checkmate. Respect is earned, not given. Keep it a secret. Fuck secrets. I've told my dad literally zero about my time in the military because I can't trust him to interpret. Don't tell anyone, as, don't tell anyone except mom, all 3 priests, everyone at church, your college buddies, your Navy buddies, your work buddies. I'm 26 years old. When I was 15, I told my mother that I like women, then I begged her not to tell anyone. Not her mom, not her sister, not dad, because I wanted to do it in my own way on my own time. She told everyone but my dad, for some reason. To this day, I still don't tell her most things because I don't trust her. It hurts a lot, because I really wish I could confide in her. I'm an adult, but the one that has always got me is school. Every adult I know will listen to a kid complain about school and then tell them how good they have it. Yef that. You couldn't pay me to go back to high school, let alone middle school. I get paid to wake up every morning and go work now. Plus I get paid if I'm sick or just want to take a vacation day and not go in. High school is stressful as fuck, especially on a period system where you have to cram 7 different lessons in your brain every day, sometimes study for 7 different tests, and then add an ACT/SAT prep on top of that. Then you have to also be social, tie in some extracurriculars or community service to beef up the college application, and still try to squeeze in some time for friends, significant other, or hobbies. I wouldn't go back to high school for all the money in the world. We aren't trying to act moody when we fight back. We want to learn to stand up for ourselves when you guys don't listen. Even when we have valid arguments, some of you guys think that you are always correct since you are the adult. By arguing, we are asking for some respect from you, not trying to take any respect away from you. Video games are fun. Also, video games are insanely diverse. There are so many different genres and types of games that it's weird we even generalize them so much. What is the hardest thing to explain to adults? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.